All right, I'm going to talk with you today about something that just really hit me sideways. And it didn't come from a book, it didn't come from any research I was doing. It came from a stupid Instagram reel. But honestly, that probably makes it even more relevant. I don't know. So I randomly open Instagram, and this nerdy guy pops up holding his orange tabby cat upside down. And this cat's like teeth are showing. He's totally unbothered. He looks a little bit like a menace. And this guy goes, like, this is my orange flavored cat, or something like that, he says. And he basically says he's being an asshole to his little sister. The cat's being an asshole, right? And I'm in. At that point, I'm already in. I'm hooked. I'm like, okay, the cat upside down, showing his teeth. This guy's like sort of dry approach to this whole thing. And then he starts cutting between clips of this cat. The sister is this darker cat, long haired, sweet, just kind of laying there in her clips, enjoying being petting and purring. And this orange flavored little demon looks like a complete menace, like I said. And the guy explains that the two cats are siblings. And he says they used to be best friends. And then he says, like, out of nowhere, the orange tabby cat starts viciously attacking the sister. So this guy does what I think we all do now. He posts about it on Instagram, and his DMs absolutely blow up. People are flooding his messages with how there's got to be something seriously wrong with the sister cat, that the orange tabby cat is like giving him an indication of what is wrong with the female cat, because they say cats can smell organ failure, they can sense and smell death, and they like are all telling him this is a huge red flag, that this orange cat is being, horrible to this sister cat that he was, best friends with and loved for so long. And here's the important part, all right? I'm getting to a point, I promise. Enough people said it, and said this confidently, that there was something wrong with his female cat, that he started to doubt that she was okay. He went from thinking there's completely nothing wrong with my cat to reading this flood of messages and hearing it over and over and over, to thinking, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with my cat. And it wasn't because the cat was showing any symptoms. It wasn't anything about the cat indicating anything was wrong with her. And the vet had not raised any concerns at all. But it was because of the volume of messages that he started to feel like there was evidence that there was something wrong with his cat. So he says he took her to the vet. They did blood work, they ran all kinds of tests. I mean, they did like the whole thing. And I think he said like $1,000 later, they found out there was nothing wrong with the cat. The orange flavored cat, as he called the male cat, was just a jerk. And this guy ends the video kind of joking that listening to Instagram cost him $1,000. And okay, it's funny, but my brain did not laugh and just move on, because what I saw there is exactly what I see happening to women like you in midlife every single day. What happened wasn't bad judgment on this guy's part, but it was what I'm calling crowdsourced authority. And it is the same thing, or one of the things, huge parts of what I see wrecking women's confidence, midlife women's confidence, wrecking it in their own bodies. Crowdsourced authority is when enough unqualified voices repeat the same thing loud enough that it feels irresponsible not to listen. And so it's like volume replaces expertise. Confidence replaces accuracy. And repetition replaces truth. And here's why this matters so much to women who are over 40, over 50. Most of the women I work with are smart as hell. They run businesses, they manage teams, they make complex decisions, they're in charge of huge budgets. They can spot bullshit in a meeting in 2 seconds flat. So these are not gullible women, but then their body changes. And suddenly the rules they relied on stopped working. Eating less doesn't work, moving more doesn't work, the scale doesn't budge, your energy tanks, sleep changes, stress is pounding you, fatigue is killing you. And when they go look for answers, they get a bunch of noise. Doctors tell them everything looks normal. Social media tells them everything is wrong. Influencers tell them it's hormones. You have imbalance. You have cortisol issues. You have influence going on. You have toxin overload. You have metabolic damage. You're broken. Pick your poison. And here's the key point. This isn't like choosing software or hiring a contractor to remodel your kitchen. This is your body. It's personal. It's emotional. It's tied to your identity and aging and fear. And what if this never gets any better? That emotional proximity changes how discernment works. And let me say this clearly. Women do not lose their ability to think critically in middle life. But critical thinking is so much harder to access when the stakes feel very urgent and very personal to us. That's when like loud advice starts to feel like clarity. It starts to feel like expertise. And that is exactly the environment that this influencer economy thrives on. So here's some uncomfortable truth. Influencers don't need to be right, they just need to be convincing. Affiliate links don't require long-term results, they just require a bunch of clicks. And corporations figured this out a long time ago that people trust people like them more than they trust ads. So now marketing looks like another woman in her bathroom talking about what finally worked with a link underneath. And smart women, women who would never buy something just because a stranger told them that it worked, suddenly find themselves thinking, ooh, maybe she's right. Not because they're stupid all of a sudden, but because you're tired and because the system is so freaking loud. There's also another layer to this. There's this cultural layer. And we don't talk about this enough, and I'm going to just like put it out here. Historically, women's health is prioritized when we are in our reproductive years because that's when we're reproductively valuable, if you will. Once we move into midlife, institutional investment drops, but our purchasing power goes up. So, midlife women are not ignored by the market. We're aggressively targeted by it. We're sold to, we're marketed to, we're rarely given real strategy. And that gap is filled with products instead of understanding and reality. And here's the part that actually breaks my heart. The real cost isn't the money. The real cost isn't the money. It's what's happening to us internally. Women start to distrust themselves. Every symptom feels alarming. Every new suggestion feels urgent. Every failure feels like proof that you're doing something wrong. Just like that cat. Nothing was wrong except the belief that something had to be wrong. So let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not a discipline problem. It's not a motivation problem. And it's not because you don't know how to think. Most women already have really exceptional discernment. But when the body becomes the question, when identity and fear and aging and self trust all collide, that discernment skill gets drowned out by noise. And the work at this stage of life is not buying harder, trying harder, or fixing yourself. The work is slowing the movement, slowing the moment, I should say, down long enough to hear yourself think again. Before the next opinion gets a vote, before the next link convinces you something is wrong, before the volume replaces actual wisdom. Nothing about this season means you're failing. It means you're navigating something that deserves so much more care, not just a bunch more noise. And so, if this idea lands for you, I wrote more about this on Substack, and I'm going to keep pulling on this thread over the next several days because I think it's so important. Right now, what I want you to do is just kind of sit with this. What would change if you trusted your own ability to think as much as you've been trusting the volume of influencers' opinions on the internet? What would change for you? Let that kind of sit in your brain and marinate. Thanks for being here this week. I'm super passionate about this topic. You're going to hear more and more about it from a lot of different perspectives because my brain is going woo. And I will see you right back here next time.